Are you thinking of selling your Passaic County Lake house in the next year? There's a few things that you really should be thinking about right now, even if you're not planning on putting the house on the market until another month or 2 months or 6 months from now. There's things that need to be taken care of, some things that you might not even know about. And what I'm talking about are things like underground fuel storage tanks. Just recently in a transaction, the buyers are always going to do an underground fuel storage tank. It's called a tank sweep. They come out and they either use a GPR, which is called a ground penetrating radar, or they'll just come out and they have this wand, and the technicians know, it sounds like all like beeping to me, but they know what the little nuances of the sound are, and they will go across the entire property. Even if when you purchased the house, you had a tank sweep done and have the certificate, a lot of the times the buyers, either their attorney or their real estate agent will tell them to go ahead and do another one just in case, because you really don't want to end up with a surprise. An underground storage tank or an underground fuel storage tank can be an expensive, very messy cleanup, and it's just not something you want to be surprised by. So even if somebody says, hey, there's no tanks here, they will probably do a tank sweep anyway. Or if they say, there was a tank here, but we had it taken out, here's all the paperwork, they may do another tank sweep just to see if there's possibly another tank on the property. And then in some cases, they'll be like, there is no tank here, and then a tank is found. And this just recently happened to me, happened to my seller. So in this case, we had it looked at, we had it dug up, and it wasn't even an oil tank. It was some sort of a random metal water tank. So it was very easy. It was just taken out of the ground. But when I say it was easy, it delayed the transaction for weeks. It was in Passaic County. It was in West Milford on one of the charming small lakes. And we had to, once it was identified, and they call it little different things. They'll call it an anomaly because you can't really tell what it is until they dig it up. You have to apply for a permit with the borough of West Milford, and that takes weeks. They have up to 21 days to issue the permit, and it ended up holding the closing up. The seller had no idea that this tank was there. So in this case, the only problem is that my seller, it was an expense that they were not planning on, and B, it delayed the closing literally for months because the tank had to be identified. It was first identified in the home inspection when the buyer had her person out there and said, hey, there's something going on here. And then we had to do this whole discovery phase to find out what it is and how deep it was. And then we had applied for the permits. We had the professionals come out and give us a price, and then the work actually needed to be done. So what I'm saying is that if you are thinking of selling your house, as I said, in the next month, 6 months to a year, get your paperwork in order. If you have an underground tank that has been properly decommissioned, you've got the folder with the paperwork, everything was taken care of, you know that it's in the yard, it's been filled with sand, I still highly recommend that you take it out. Even if you said, oh, I'm not going to take it out. I took care of this before, I paid for the permits, or when I purchased it was there, it's given me no problems. The chance of getting to closing without someone asking to take that tank out is very, very rare. It is something that scares buyers. It is something that attorneys will advise their buyers to ask for it to be taken out. They will advise their buyers not to purchase a home with an underground fuel storage tank, even if it's been properly decommissioned. There are homeowners insurance companies which are getting tougher and tougher to deal with that do not want to insure a property with any sort of underground tank. So there is no law. You don't have to do it, but you sort of have to do it. If you have multiple buyers or if you have one buyer, the chance of it frightening people away, having an underground tank that you're not willing to deal with, even if it's been properly decommissioned, I recommend that you have it taken out. If you have all of the paperwork, and this is in Bloomingdale, this is in West Milford, Passaic County, Ringwood, I'll have to check on Ringwood. If you have the paperwork saying this has been properly decommissioned, you don't need to get another permit. You just need to hire a professional. There's a couple of really great companies in the Passaic County area. There's one in West Milford that I like to use, that they will come out. They will actually check with the town, see what paperwork is in order, and then they will come out and take care of the tank for you. without having to get any more permits, because the permits have already been paid for. It has been filed with the town and taken care of. You just have to get it out of the ground. And if you do this before you put the house on the market, it is much better, because then let's say you have to disturb the landscaping and things just start looking messed up. Get the tank out, and then you could just give that paperwork right to your buyer. And then when the buyer does, if they do decide to do another tank sweep, you know what you're dealing with. You know that it has been gone, and it's not going to hold up your sale. So there's a couple of other things, but today I just wanted to talk about the underground storage tanks, underground fuel storage tanks. The only one that is, I'm going to say okay, is underground propane tanks. Not something I know a ton about, but propane's a gas, so there's really like nothing to leak underground. What we're looking for is underground oil tanks that are in the yard, especially if they are active. If you are actively using an oil tank, you do want to have that taken out of the ground and get a new above ground oil tanks. Underground oil tanks, it's a thing of the past, and it's better you just get it out of the yard. And then it's peace of mind for you, and it's peace of mind for your buyer. And that is going to help you have an easy transaction, a much easier closing without any delays. If you have any questions, I'm Jennifer Ellis, Coldwell Banker Realty. I am a Passaic County Lake Community Specialist, West Milford, Bloomingdale, Ringwood. Of course, I do go up into Sussex County, but Passaic County is where I dwell. And I can answer any questions on some of the other things that you need to be looking out for, as well as underground fuel storage tanks. Thanks for watching.